The Young and the Restless. Spoilers. Wednesday update, August 26. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today is a beautifully chaotic day in the soap world, and we have so much to unpack. Grab your coffee, or maybe something stronger, because we need to talk about the absolute madness happening in Genoa City right now. Let's dive right into it. I cannot believe Victor Newman right now. I mean, I can because it's Victor, but seriously? I am sitting here typing this up after watching the latest episode, and my blood is absolutely boiling. Reacting first and explaining later, because that's just where my head is at. Victor threatening Jack Abbott over Nick's recovery is the most toxic, controlling, absurd thing this man has done all month. And considering he recently kidnapped Jack and almost got him killed by Patty Williams, that is saying a lot. So, let's break this down. Nick Newman is finally out of the rehab facility. He is trying to follow the program. He is trying to do the steps, and he is trying to piece his life back together after hitting absolute rock bottom. And by rock bottom, I mean doing drugs in a dingy motel with Marie Kirkland, hallucinating Matt Clark, and almost dying from a fentanyl overdose. Nick is broken. He needs real, genuine help from someone who actually understands the dark, twisted demons of addiction. And who is his sponsor? Jack Abbott. And honestly, I am completely here for it. Jack is the perfect sponsor for Nick. Remember Jack's harrowing pill addiction years ago? Jack knows what it's like to lose everything, to alienate your family, to lie, to cheat, and to feel like you are drowning in your own mind. Jack has been through the ringer and has come out the other side. He won't judge Nick. He won't treat Nick like a corporate asset that needs to be managed. He will treat Nick like a human being struggling with a disease. But of course, Victor Newman cannot handle this. Victor finds out that Jack, his mortal enemy, the man he blames for everything wrong in the universe, is sponsoring his golden boy, and Victor absolutely loses his mind. He actually threatens Jack. I'm sorry, but who does Victor think he is in this scenario? You cannot just dictate AA or NA sponsorship like you're assigning a VP at Newman Enterprises. Sponsorship is a deeply personal, spiritual, and emotional partnership. It requires mutual trust. Nick trusts Jack. Jack understands Nick. But Victor only sees it as Jack infiltrating his family. It is just so frustrating to watch Victor constantly prioritize his own ego over his children's actual well-being. He wants Nick to get clean, sure, but he only wants Nick to get clean on Victor's terms. He probably wants to hire some corporate yes-man to be Nick's sponsor, someone who will report back to the ranch with daily updates. Am I the only one who sees how dangerous that is? If Victor pushes Jack away, Nick is going to spiral again. We all know it. And then there is Nikki. Bless her heart, Nikki is actually trying to be the voice of reason here. Nikki steps in and tries to run interference, telling Victor that Jack is the best possible sponsor Nick could have right now. She is reminding her stubborn husband that Nick's sobriety is the only thing that matters. And Nikki knows this better than anyone. She is a recovering alcoholic. She knows that when you are in the trenches of addiction, you need someone who speaks the language of recovery, not the language of corporate warfare. But I am terrified that Victor isn't going to listen. I know some people are loving this renewed Victor and Jack rivalry, but personally, I am exhausted by it when it comes at the expense of the kids. Nikki and Victor literally just had this beautiful, romantic, Venice-themed vow renewal at the ranch. Nikki's eye bandages came off. She's dealing with her vision issues, and they promise to start a new chapter. Is Victor really going to blow up his marriage again because he can't stand the thought of Jack helping his son? Yes, he is. Because Victor's hatred for Jack will always trump his common sense. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's pivot, because the Victor and Jack drama isn't even the messiest thing happening right now. Okay, back to the point. Can we talk about Victoria Newman and Kyle Abbott? I am physically cringing, yet I cannot look away. It is a train wreck of epic proportions, and I am absolutely glued to my screen. The spoilers for Tuesday show that Victoria has some grand idea that could help their family business, and she takes this plan straight to Kyle Abbott. On the surface, it's just business. They are plotting, they are scheming, they are talking corporate strategy. But we all know what's really going on here. The spoilers literally say their rivalry is going to take a surprising turn later this week, and we already saw them share that passionate, boundary-crossing kiss in Jack's office at Jabal. Yes, they kissed, and they are going to do it again. Or worse. Let's just map out this family tree of absolute disaster for a second, because my brain is melting, trying to process the sheer audacity of this pairing. Kyle Abbott is Summer Newman's ex-husband. Summer is Victoria's niece. Kyle is also Claire Newman's recent ex-boyfriend. Claire is Victoria's daughter. Victoria is literally hooking up with her daughter's ex-boyfriend and her niece's ex-husband. I mean, are we seriously doing this? I have been watching this show for years, and I know Victoria has a history of making questionable romantic choices, especially when it comes to Abbott men. Remember her whole saga with Billy? It's like she is biologically hardwired to seek out men that will give her father a stress-induced heart attack. But Kyle? Kyle is practically a kid compared to her, and the emotional baggage here is radioactive. Why is Victoria doing this? I think she is lonely, she is stressed from playing the family peacemaker, and she is drawn to Kyle's arrogance. She literally told him she would enjoy knocking his arrogance into a million pieces right before they kissed. It's a power trip for her. But for Kyle? Kyle is deeply, deeply traumatized right now, and is acting out in the most destructive way possible. Think about what Kyle has been through lately. His father, Jack, was stabbed and almost killed because of Victor and Patty Williams. His mother, Diane, was ambushed and kidnapped by the psychotic doctor, Lawrence Markham, and held in a padded cell. His entire family is under siege, and his uncle Billy is launching a hostile takeover of Chancellor Industries that is tearing the Abbotts apart. Kyle is a walking open wound of trauma and vulnerability. So what does he do? He trauma bonds with the Ice Princess herself, Victoria Newman. I am dreading the fallout, but I am also grabbing my popcorn. Imagine Claire's face when she finds out her mother is sleeping with the guy she just dated. Claire has already been through so much psychological torture in her life. Finding out her mum is swapping spit with her ex is going to send her over the edge. And what about Summer? Summer is currently off canvas, but rumors are swirling that she is coming back with a brand new face. Maybe Kristen Alderson? If Summer returns to Genoa City and finds her Aunt Victoria playing house with her ex-husband and the father of Harrison, oh my god, the slap heard around the world is coming, people. And don't even get me started on Victor's reaction to this. Victor hates Kyle. Victor hates the Abbotts. When Victor finds out that his precious daughter is not only conspiring with an Abbott in business, but is also romantically involved with him, the mustache is going to twitch right off his face. He is already raging about Jack sponsoring Nick, and he is already raging about Billy trying to steal Chancellor. This Kyle and Victoria romance might actually be the thing that breaks Victor Newman for good. But you know what? Amidst all this toxic, messy, incestuous adjacent drama, there is actually a shining light of hope, a breath of fresh air. Let's talk about Nate Hastings. Finally, the writers are doing something right with Nate. Tuesday's spoilers reveal that Nate is seriously setting his sights back on the medical field. He talks to Dr. Stephanie Simmons about the possibility of returning to being a doctor, and specifically, a surgeon. I cannot express how happy this makes me. I have absolutely hated the corporate Nate era. Ever since Devon punched him and ruined his hand, Nate's transition into a ruthless, backstabbing corporate shark has felt so out of character. Nate is a healer. He is Dr. Olivia Winters' son. He belongs in a hospital, saving lives, not in a boardroom arguing over spreadsheets and podcast divisions. And the setup for this is actually brilliant. Devon Winters has been completely unhinged lately. Devon is so consumed by his rage over Mariah kidnapping Dominic years ago that he is destroying his own marriage to Abby. In a shocking move, Devon just announced he is stepping down from the Winters Company to start a non-profit. That massive shift in the family dynamic is what inspired Nate. Nate looked at Devon walking away from the corporate rat race to follow his passion, and Nate realized he needs to do the same. Plus, medical technology has advanced. There are new surgical procedures that can repair the tendons in Nate's hand. He was talking to Lily about it, and Lily was so incredibly supportive. Lily basically told him that medicine is his true calling, and he needs to go for it. And now, he is consulting with Stephanie Simmons. I love that Stephanie is back in the mix. She has such deep ties to Genoa City history. She was best friends with Nate's mom, Olivia. Having Stephanie be the one to guide Nate back into his surgical career is a beautiful nod to the show's past. Of course, Stephanie has her own massive drama going on. She hid the fact that Malcolm Winters is the father of her son, Holden Novak, for years. And Nate is Malcolm's adopted son. So Holden is Nate's brother. The Winters family tree is getting just as complicated as the Newmans and Abbotts, but at least Nate is focusing on something positive. I genuinely hope this medical breakthrough works out for Nate. The hospital set has been severely underutilized lately, unless someone is in a coma or getting their eye bandages removed. We need a strong leading doctor character back on canvas, and Nate fits that bill perfectly. Both Nate and Stephanie seem optimistic about his chances of operating again, and I am crossing all my fingers and toes that the writers don't pull the rug out from under him. Because, let's be real, the rest of the town is going to need a good surgeon soon with all the backstabbing going on. Between Victor declaring war on Billy and Jack, Lily preparing to fight Billy to the death over Chancellor, and Patty Williams and Doctor, Markham still lurking around, causing chaos, someone is bound to end up in the ER by Friday. I mean, look at the big picture here. We have Jack trying to hold his sobriety and his family together while Victor breathes down his neck. We have Nick teetering on the edge of a massive relapse while his father tries to fire his sponsor. We have Victoria and Kyle engaging in the most taboo, HR-violating, family-destroying romance of the decade. And we have Nate trying to scrub back in to save lives. This is peak soap opera, you guys. I am simultaneously exhausted and entirely captivated. I know I complain a lot, and sometimes I contradict myself because I get so worked up, but this is why we watch. We watch for the sheer, unadulterated drama of Victor Newman thinking he can control the universe, and the glorious moments when the universe, or Jack Abbott, tells him no. I am going to be watching the rest of this week through my fingers, especially when Claire walks in on Victoria and Kyle. It is going to be brutal, it is going to be messy, and I am absolutely here for it. What do you guys think? Am I overreacting about Victor? Is Jack the right sponsor for Nick? And please tell me I am not the only one grossed out by Victoria and Kyle. Sound off in the comments. Let's get a discussion going, because I need to know I am not screaming into the void here. Until next time, stay restless.